Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Howdy, Verna Haywood here. We're on the Wise Ones on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. And if you're joining us today on YouTube, please, if you have not subscribed to the USA Global TV and Radio, please give it very serious thought. We'd love to have you as a subscriber. So also, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck on YouTube is another source of the same program. We have two that we use. I am Verna Haywood. That's my middle show. I do 3 shows back to back every Thursday. Today we're talking with Verna Haywood and a major influence on resilience, and we'll get into that here in just a moment. I'm an author. I've done several books of my own. I have a brand new one coming out called Aging Sucks, talking about what's happening molecularly in the body when your normal aging process is going on and what you can do to help yourself out down the road. When I'm not doing that, I just have a lot of fun. So I think that's enough introduction for me today. Verna, please join me back up here on stage. Howdy,
Hello.
Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio Network. You have a great smile, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so you're in this world called resilience. Tell us about that.
Resilience is something that we have, but we haven't really tapped into it. Resilience is not about being strong. It's about becoming and growing and developing. So it's really what happened to you doesn't define you. So resilience is about you becoming who you were meant to be, who you were created to be.
It's interesting, Verna, because in the human body, one of the hallmarks of health is resilience, but it's not in the same mindset, but very, very similar, parallel paths. Because when something happens to you, let's say damage occurs, whatever that may be, and you repair it, you recover from it, and you adapt to it. That's what the body does every single second of every single day. And that's that resilience of the body to take various kinds of things that happen at the cellular level. And sometimes it's trauma at automobile accident or something else. But our bodies have that ability to be very resilient from a health and wellness perspective physically. And now you're on the mental end of that same mindset, because here's my physical part, but I still have resilience up here too. Is that a fair way of saying it?
Yes, it is. Because we don't realize that the things that we say, things may have happened to us. And when it happened to us, we use certain words, we say certain things. And that, as you said, the body hold on to that. You have your conscious and your subconscious mind. And it doesn't know the difference, what is happening. Because when you say something and you believe that thing, it makes it like, okay, oh, I hate this. All right, you hate it, but why are you eating it? Don't eat it, because it's not going to do you any good. And we keep that kind of mental attitude, and instead of changing it, we just carry on like that. And then that makes us not weak, but it takes over our ability to think for ourselves and to change a perspective. So, for example, when I was younger and they told me I wouldn't become anything or I didn't belong, I didn't accept that. When I was told I wasn't one of them, I didn't accept that because I had no knowledge of what does that mean. I was told that at 5 years old. And what was that? And when I was told I was a black sheep, I was like, I'm not black, I'm chocolate. So you have to change your way of thinking and your perception of who you are. And when you start doing that, then you begin to see the changes happening in you. This is what I had to do. I had to dig deep and to think about who I am. For a long time, I locked it off. I did not want to think because of the things that had happened to me. I didn't want to know anything about it.
Okay, so let's take an example. Let's say that my mom's already passed on, but let's say that I just get a phone call from my brother saying my mom passed. Unexpectedly, she was fairly young. That's trauma to my brain, my whole body, actually. So how would you help somebody recover and become more resilient with that one trauma? I'm just using this. You may have a better one, but for right now, if you have a better one, use a better one.
The way I have a program called the Unstoppable Resilience, the URF program, which is Reflect, Revitalize, and Renew. So we want to go and we want to look at what happened. You have to first tap into before you can heal. You have to look at what had happened. What happened and how are we going to change that? And once we go through that, because your awareness is important, when you become aware of what has happened or what has happened, then you start to process everything. You want to look at it and you want to think about it, and then you want to go from that. So within the book, you will find lots of action, which is, here is a book. You'll find lots of actions, lots of things and tools that would help you along the way to show you how you can recover, how we can do that. And you look at positive intelligence as well, because there are things that are blocking us, what we call in positive intelligence, you call it saboteurs, but those are your inner critics. And your inner critics play a role in how you see things and your perspective. And we work from there. We have to start from the beginning.
Okay, so if I'm somebody like a Marine military guy or a fireman or a policeman, these people see death fairly often in their normal day. But if you're a secretary at a bank or you're a car salesman or something, we kind of shield ourselves from some of those really traumatic events. And I'm not talking about the PTSD ones. I'm just talking about things that happen as part of the cause of something. I don't want to say we become jaded over time, but I think, as you say, we're aware of things after that second or third or fourth thing because it's happened to us more than once. So do you find it in your clients that you work with that if they've had similar things in the past, that it's actually easier to get them through the next one?
Yes, I think one of the things that I do is ask questions and listen. I don't give them the answers because the answers are within you. You have all the answers within you. So it's all about asking the questions and allowing them to sit with the question and answer it. Because once they begin to release, I suppose I would say the first thing we want to do is to start with some breathing exercise, because then that calms you down and it brings you into a state of relaxation. And once you get into that state of relaxation, your mind is not going to and fro. Your mind is now settled and ready to accept and go forward with the things. For example, I had a gentleman who went through lots of trauma with his dad, and his mom wasn't saying anything. So his dad was a dominant one. And then he had the trauma with his partners. And he wanted to stay in that relationship regardless to that kingdom come, even though the person didn't want him. He wanted to go back So initially, when we started, it was just darkness, 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 darkness. And as I pursue with him, asking him questions, and he started answering those questions, and then we come back again and again and again, and then you begin to see the light started to shine within him. His color, his complexion became much clearer, and he looked much more attractive at that point, because then he realized that this is something he's carrying and he need to let it go. So you first have to ask those questions. Once you ask the questions and the person begin to answer it, you allow them to answer. You don't give them the answers. I'm not here to fix anyone. They have the ability to fix themselves. And this is how we are going to work. We're going to work from that perspective and then get to the other side. And as we get to the other side, then we can go deeper. But you have to first have a beginning. Before you can have an ending, you have to have a beginning. You have to have a start where we're going to start from. And that's the starting point. That's where I work from.
Okay. I assume that there's some ability to have a preventive screen set up so that some of these things are not as emotionally driven. I went on a hike over in Spain 10 years ago, and I declared to my wife, I said, I don't care what happens. We're going to be walking 500 miles next 30 days. This is my let it go. No matter, let it go, let it go. I bet you I told myself that 20, 30, 50 times on some days, because there were just so many irritants. Let it go. And I found that one event over a month just kind of changed my whole perspective. Because, okay, it happened. Did it? Yeah, I don't need it. Let it go. So that was my prevention program, knowing that I was going to be walking 500 miles in 30 days, and you never know what's going to happen, because there's just too many unknowns out there. So what do you think about having kind of a self-prevention kind of option?
You do, because I had to have a self-prevention option. When everything was happening to me, mine was a wall. I put a wall up. Nobody can come close to that wall. Nobody can penetrate that wall, because I had it at a distance. And no matter what, you were not getting close. It was like this brick wall was there, and it was not coming down. And at a certain point, I think is in 2020, I broke down right here where I'm sitting with you, and I started crying, and I couldn't understand why I was crying, because my mom disappeared when I was 23 years old. I had a miscarriage, my first child, and I had a second one later. And I was, physically and domestically abused and abused as a child. And you locked everything away. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. You just carry on like a robot. It's like I was a robot. But in 2020, I just broke down crying and realized that it was Mother's Day. I had nobody to wish Happy Mother's Day. I have no child to wish me children to wish me Happy Mother's Day. And that's when I began to grieve. The grief came in. And I had to go through that. So the barriers came down. But we have to go through something in order for you to be resilient. You cannot, not that you can't be resilient, you can, but in order for you to truly understand it, you have to really go through. You go through the process. Remember, I'm saying you're going through. You're not stopping there. You're on a journey. That journey is taking you somewhere to become something, and you're constantly on that journey, because you're developing all the time, and you're learning new skills and new things that would help you. And this, you had to have that mechanism, because I had that mechanism that I was not going to be who you said I was going to be. I was not going to die in this marriage. I made that decision. I was not going to die. I walked away from it all. I had everything, and I walked away from it all with 100 pounds in a suitcase and started my life all over again. Some people may not find it that easy. Maybe if I had my children was alive, maybe I would not have found it that easy to move on. But we have to make that decision. You have to have that mechanism. When you have that mechanism, you are fine. You can walk through life with anything.
Okay, so you basically were self-taught how to do this, or is just something that evolved and you kept getting better and better and recognizing that you could become even better than that? Or did you read books or see movies or videos or anything?
No, it was me. You know, when I told I wanted to talk about, I told my brother, my big brother, I was going to become a speaker. And he said, you know, if you do, you have to be honest. You have to speak about the things that has happened. You know, are you ready to do that? And I said, yes, I'm ready. I said that in 2002. And before my sister passed away, I said to him, I need to speak to my sister because she's the matriarch, and I need to let her know the things that has happened because it's family members. And when we had a three-way conversation and I told her what had happened to me, and she said, who did you see? I said, no one. She said, did you get any help? No. I said, it was just me and God. Me and God. I used to say as a child, if nobody loves me, Jesus loves me. So my faith was my cornerstone. When you have faith, you know, the word of God says, faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So faith was my substance. You know, when you're preparing your meal, you have to season it and it has to have that taste, and you have to, it really, so faith is a seasoning for me. It became my seasoning in everything. So I had to self-taught myself how I was going to do it, because as a Caribbean woman, in the Caribbean, if I start saying those things, first thing you're going to think, I'm mad, I'm crazy, so I'm going to go into the mental institution. So I learned from a very young age to keep everything in and just speak to him. And there were times I thought, well, is he really there? Is he listening? Has he seen what has happened to me? Where is he? But he's right there. He's within us. But we have been taught so many different things that we cannot trust. We cannot do this. Yes, some people, you can't trust people because they will speak to you now, and then behind your back, they're going to laugh at you or tell stories about you. So the one thing you show off yourself, and you show that when you speak to the Father, you will get assistance. So that's everything is self-taught. So what I am teaching, my framework is everything that I have been through and I have worked my way through and be at where I am. I'm still working through. You know, we all are going on a journey. Always remember, life is a journey. It is a journey to be enjoyed. It's a journey to take with pleasure. It's a journey that go outside, walk on the grass, feel the grass between your toes. Look at the sky and just inhale and exhale. Look at the trees. Watch the trees. You see the trees behind me. I love nature. Nature is beautiful. And when you can walk through nature and you can see that, life is beautiful.
You wrote a book. Let's talk about that for a few minutes. And we're about a minute or so away from the commercial break. So why don't we go ahead? When did you write the book?
It took me 2 years to write the book because I started and I stopped. And
Unstoppable Resilience, okay.
Unstoppable, yes. Unstoppable Resilience. Heal, rise, and renew.
Okay. So the book came from your inner life. These are the things you experienced, the things that worked, the things that didn't work.
Yeah. I put more. Initially, the book I was going to write was totally different. I was going to talk about everything that had happened. And then in writing the book, it just took on a different tone of itself. It was all about resilience. So I wrote on resilience in different aspects. For example, the resilient communicator. How do we communicate with one another? Because the world is much smaller now. And we're meeting people from all walks of life. I've met you. I'm here in the UK and you are in the United States. I don't have to. Yes, it'd be lovely for me to come and give you a hug and be there with you, but I can be here with you and still experience that, because we have this ability to transfer things to one another. And so when we can do that, when we can understand, because there are 4 communication styles, and when we can understand each other's communication style, we adapt. We don't have to change ourselves. This is who we are, but we adapt. We have to learn other people's communication style and communicate with them on that, in that way. When we can do that, then that is a big plus. You know, resilience, as in food, or when we talk about food, what enhances us? What makes us alive? What gives us the energy to grow and to develop? Not just food as in the food we eat, but the food that we speak to ourselves. Words are food. They are seeds. When we plant those seeds grow. And so we need to choose what soil we're going to be using. So if a farmer going to plant, he thinks about the soil. He thinks about what seeds are going to grow in that soil.
We're going to go to a commercial break at this time. When we come back, I'd like to talk a little bit about the cover of your book. So if you kind of get some thoughts in that direction. So we'll be back in about a minute and a half or so.
Hey, you. Psst. Yes, you. Watching this right now. Are you creating content, a blog, a podcast, a newsletter, going live on Instagram or TikTok, and still not seeing real visibility or growth? Here's why. Anyone can post, anyone can go live, but not everyone is positioned to be taken seriously. Right now, people are going to YouTube to search for experts, for answers, for credibility. So while you're putting in the work, someone else is being seen as the authority. Not because they know more, because they're positioned better. Now imagine this. Your own professionally produced TV show, marketed, distributed, optimized with SEO so people can actually find you. Not just seen, but searchable, discoverable, positioned. You're trained, you're coached, you're guided. No experience necessary, but you do have to be coachable, because this is about stepping into a higher level. This isn't about doing more, it's about doing it right. We've already built the platform, 2 YouTube channels, a global audience, a Silver Creator Award. So the question is, how much longer are you going to rely on temporary visibility when you could be building real authority? If you're ready to be seen differently, go to usaglobaltv.com and apply to host your own show. This is for individuals who are serious about investing in their visibility, their credibility, and their growth. If that's you, we're ready. USA Global TV and Radio, where your voice becomes your platform. Executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Videographer, Paul Garcia. Voiceover, Ed Vargas. All rights reserved. This production is the exclusive property of the USA Global TV and Radio and may not be reproduced, distributed, or used without written permission.
Greta Laughlin here, one of the wise ones with Verna Haywood. Verna, please join me back up here on stage. Just as we're going to the break, I said I'd like to talk a little bit about your cover. Very distinctive. What gave you the thought to create a cover like that?
When I started writing the book, I had a different cover in mind. It was all about looking at what represents resilience. And we looked at different symbols and different signs and things like that. And when I spoke with my publisher about what it is I wanted, because I'm self-published, but I have somebody who worked with me. When I spoke to her about what I wanted and what it was all about, and I told my story, then she said, okay, let's look ahead and choose. So the choice was the lotus. The lotus is a brilliant, magnificent flower, and it grows in mucky water. The water is so mucky, you would think, how can something like that, so beautiful, grow in murky water. And that's where the cover came from. Because resilience is not beautiful. You know, you start off, it's beautiful, but when you start, you don't see it as beautiful. You're thinking, what is that? Why do I have to be resilient? What is strong and all of that? So the book cover, initially, I wanted it to be where you can see the spirit rising within the person, whether it's a male or a female, but because I'm female, it came up female. So you can see the resilience rising, the energy just being expanded all over the person. So the lines you can see is all about the energy floating throughout. And when it came to, that's the one I wanted, but we also created this one. And when it came to, okay, we need to get the book ready now, we need to do the cover, what cover it was going with. So before I was able to speak to her, this cover came to mind, but I didn't say anything to her. And then we had a conversation and she said, I have something to say to you, but I don't know how you're going to go about it. And I said, what? We need to change the cover? And she said, yes. So that's how we changed the cover to this one. But it's all about being resilient. The lotus is a resilient.
Okay, when you have a client that you're working with, what may not be an average time for having some level of success, but at least on a short side, can somebody, say attain resilience in a month, or does it take them a year? What kind of timing are you looking at when you're working with people?
Well, I have a 12-week program. It's a course called Unstoppable Resilience, and it is in 3 tiers. So if the person wants to work on their own, they can do self-paced. If we want to work in a group, we can work in a group. Or if we want to work on a one-to-one, so you can have the group, the self-paced, and the one-to-one, and we can work there. All depends on the person, how much they are willing to work, because you have got to do the work. I'm here to assist you, but the work is your job. I had to do mine to become who I am, and I'm still becoming, and you have to do yours as well. So I'm here to be your guide. I'm here to help you to see the beauty that you have on the inside of you, because when that beauty comes out, it is majestic. It is wonderful. It is a great thing and is a desire to have. And that's how we're going to work. So it can be a couple of weeks. I wouldn't say it's a couple of weeks because that's not going to happen. I won't tell you that. Can be 6 to 8 weeks, 12 weeks. And you still have to continue growing from that because it does not stop. I'm still learning new things every single day. And as I learn those new things, I adapt them. I even test things out. So if I'm doing something, I test it on myself first to see what the result is. And then because I know it works, I know that if you apply yourself to doing it, it's going to work for you as well. So that's how we will work together.
Do you find it easier for men or for women?
I find it, some women can be, they don't want motivation. They want identity. They want to find out their identity and to build their confidence. Men is the same, but I find it sometimes men can be kind of reluctant to want to move on. Some women as well, they still want to hold on to what is gone, or they need to let go, because if you don't let go, you're not going to move forward. So it's equal on both sides.
Okay, how about age? Do you find easier for somebody 70 years old or somebody 20 years old to get to the end state?
The most of the people that come to me is from like 30 plus. And I think wisdom is important. So if you have the wisdom, and I can help you to gain the wisdom that you need, it all depends on the person. I don't think age, because I don't think age is a factor. I think I heard somebody said once, I have seen men at 14 and boys at 40. And I guess it's the same thing with women. All right. So is how mature are you? How mature are you in here? What do you say to yourself in here? Do you say to yourself, well, I'm not good enough. I can't do it. Nobody cares. Well, you have got to be the first person that care. You have to care about you. And when you care about you, you're on the right track. You're ready to go. You're ready to move forward. But if you're waiting to, like, at one point I wanted to get people to let me know if I'm doing okay. Well, no, I need to know I'm doing okay. And if somebody else doesn't think I'm doing okay, then that's fine. You can tell me, I can adapt, but then it's all up to me to make that decision and decide, yes, I'm moving forward. Yes, I'm growing and I'm going. I will fall down. As a baby will try to stand up and the baby will fall, but it never stays down. It keeps standing up. It's still getting up. It's still trying to stand up. It never stays down. So why would you stay down? Why would you stay? The mess is your message. So you get up.
Do you find some traumas are easier or more difficult? If you have, like a death, a divorce, lose your job, lots of different things happen in our lives. But are there some traumas that are just so much more difficult to get through?
One of the things that I found that when we go through the trauma, especially when we have been abused as children, when you get abused as a child, or you get knocked down so many times and you're being told you're not good enough, you're not going to amount to anything, or you probably say something and people laugh at you and you think, well, I'm never going to speak again. I'm never going to say anything again, because I found that I went through that, where it came a point where I didn't want to speak anymore because somebody said something. And later on, I approached them on that, and then they said they did not mean it that way. So we can form perceptions, and perception can be dangerous because we are perceiving that this is what this person means, when actual fact is not. So I have learned over the years to see things in a different way and apply it in a different way so that I can heal, because I carried that for so many years and the person didn't even know. They didn't even know. But I had this weight carrying that I can't speak and I won't say anything because I can't pronounce certain words properly, or, certain words, I get tight tongue, and you feel inadequate. And you're thinking, oh God, well, I'm not going to say anything because people are going to hear me and they're going to think I'm silly or whatever the case might be. No, you press on. You press on.
Do you have a second book coming out anytime soon?
Yes, I have a second book that I'm working on. Actually, I'm working on three different books at the moment. My other book that will come out is called Resilience Reimagined. And I have one on, that may not be the title, but at the moment it is, I didn't go looking for cancer. Cancer came looking for me. So, and I have a 365 days of motivation that, I'm going to help people to, how do you speak to yourself? What words do you say when you speak to yourself?
Okay, so you have in-person training, you have Zoom training. Tell us a little bit about both of those.
In-person training, I'm also a therapist, a qualified therapist as well in terms of body. I do massages. So when I work with people, some people will come to me for massages. And in that instance, I will find out what it is, because I like to work on a holistic basis. Yes, we have holistic, but I like the who. Who are you? Who are the person in front of me? Who is the person in front of me? What are you expecting? What do you want? Because there are certain things I can't give you unless you are able to, you are ready to release it. So we work in person like that, but also when somebody come, for example, there was a lady who went through a divorce, and she found it really, really hard. The husband took everything, bank account. It happened to me, so I understood where she was, and she found it very, very hard. Didn't see herself, and how could she get out? How can she move forward from here? What can she do? And on top of that, having gone through the divorce, she lost her job at the same time. And it was, okay, what do I do? How do I go on from here? So when she came for therapy, for the treatment, we sat down and we talked for a long while before we did her treatment, and found out what it is she wanted. What are you going to do? And then she came up with the idea that, okay, I can write my book. So I said, okay, start that way.
Verna, we're getting ready to close out the show here, literally in about a couple, 3 minutes. But one last question, just almost a simple yes or no. Do you use hypnosis or rapid eye movement theory or emotional freedom techniques or anything like that in your practice?
No.
Okay. How do people buy your book? How do they get in touch with you?
You can get my book. It's on Amazon, so you can find it on Amazon. The link should be in my bio, and also you can contact me via my email, hello@verna-haywood.com, or you can call me on. You can text me or call me on my mobile, which is 078-28181. If you're in the United States, then you will have to add 444 internationally. So I work both internationally and local as well. So you can contact me from anywhere in the world. I'm here and I'm available to speak with you.
VernaHaywood.com. It's Verna, Verna, Haywood, HAYWOO.
Haywood, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And .com. So
yeah.
For those people who will be picking up the show later on this afternoon and an audio rebroadcast down the road, this is all live TV right now. I'll give a chance to make sure they understand exactly what your website was there. Verna, I appreciate your time today. Thank you so very much. I learned a little bit, a few things that I wasn't aware of. So thank you very much. It's always nice to learn something new every day, like you said earlier. So
yes.
Have a wonderful time. And I'll repeat one more time. You have a great smile. So it's
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay. Take care, Verna. We'll catch you down the road a little bit. We're concluding today's segment of The Wise Ones on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. My next show is called Talking Heads. Most of the time I talk about some aspect of health and wellness. I have my new book coming out called Aging Sucks. Can't see the cover very well, but anyway, Aging Sucks and the Guesswork, There is Hope. And I'm looking at the microcellular level in the body. What's going on down there at the molecular level? What happens when we age? What happens when disease starts to set in? What can we do about it? Because there's actually a lot of things we can do about it. So I'm going to be getting into the nuts and bolts of what happens down there in the body, because there's a whole bunch of things that cause damage. There's a lot of things that reinforce repair. And when you look at repair and damage, that's really a simple illustration of aging. When your repair capability exceeds your damage input every day, you're generally pretty healthy. But when that damage exceeds your ability to repair itself, that's when you start having accelerated aging. My last show coming up is going to be talking about the Camino de Santiago. For those people who are not familiar with it, it's a 500-mile pilgrimage across Spain. My wife and I did it back in 2016, 10 years ago. Just here literally in a couple months will be exactly 10 years. But I want to talk a little bit about it because I find it fascinating, and I think you just share some of that experience with the rest of the world. So you all take care. Catch you here next week, and I'll be right back on stage literally in about 17 minutes. Bye, y'all.
How much of your value have you been giving away? Saying yes when the answer should have been no? Lowering your price to secure the opportunity? Giving more while receiving less? Over time, it adds up. Until one moment brings clarity, you've been giving away your value. This is not about working harder. This is not about doing more. It's about boundaries. It's about pricing. It's about respect. From Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck comes a direct and necessary message. Stop over-delivering. Stop underpricing your expertise. Stop negotiating against yourself. Because when you recognize your value, everything changes. Stop giving away your value. Boundaries, pricing, and the business of respect. Available now wherever fine books are sold and on Amazon. A film by USA Global TV and Radio. Executive producer Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Videographer and cinematic production Paul Garcia. Voiceover by Ed Wargas. Stop giving it away. Start owning it.
Listen, babe, now. 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 Listen, babe, now.
Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? In a world quick to judge, one book dares to reveal the hidden cost of silence. Discover Holy but Harmful, The Silent Sin of Judgment, How Hidden Judgments Destroy Relationships and Damage Lives by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. The Amazon #1 bestseller that's transforming the way we understand ourselves and the way we see others. Pick up the companion workbook to uncover your own hidden judgments and learn how to break free from them. Available now on Amazon and at fine bookstores worldwide.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.